I've found that when those bots or whoever they have fucking pumping streams into it, I do find that there's, a few people that follow me on Instagram. Or then there's like one or two real people that end up listening to it for a longer period of time.
Welcome to A Musical Mind. I'm your host, Richard Raymond II. I'm a recording engineer, music producer, and multi-instrumentalist located in Colorado Springs, Colorado. In this podcast, we'll talk to a variety of musicians about the music-making process, as well as the life and mindset that have helped them find success as a musical mind. Thank you for being here. Here we go. Hey everyone, Rick here. Today's guest is Duke Hyatt, a good friend of mine from way back when. We went to college together. We played in the same band, but at different times. And today, Duke hopped on and we talked a bit about how our lives have changed and how we've began taking better care of ourselves. Because when we were good friends, that wasn't really something we were doing. And we kind of talk about what it was like living together, which we did after college with 5 people in a place that probably wasn't designed to fit 5 people. And now Duke is a music teacher doing the whole gardening thing. He's married and he's putting out singles with our good friend John, who's been producing, mixing, and mastering all of his material. The latest one he has put out is called Borderline Lunchtime, put out on July 1st of 2023. Go check it out. It's pretty slick. And Duke talks a bit about getting on playlists and what that experience was like for him and how he stays disciplined with practice. All right, here you go. Duke Hyatt. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of A Musical Mind. I'm here with today's musical mind, the music teacher, bassist, the whole nine, Duke Hyatt. How are you, Duke?
I am pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. Admittedly, I was a couple minutes late hopping onto this meeting because my wife and I spontaneously wanted cinnamon rolls this morning, so I ran over to good old Natural Grocers, which wound up being great because here's why this is all going to matter. Um, they're having a contest over there right now until from the 17th through the 19th of August. Today's the 18th of August. You'll probably be hearing this like in the fall sometime. But anyway, that's when we're recording it. And they're doing this whole big extravaganza. So there's a Sprouts that's being put in, which is like another kind of like not I don't think Sprouts has shit on Natty G's, but anyway, Sprouts is like kind of, they have some healthier options as well, but Natty G's is the bee's knees and we live super close to it, so we're there all the time. Um, there's some sweepstakes going on. You can enter to win 47K or a Tesla. We have cars, my wife and I, so we would take the money and run. And we're gonna win. So we wanted cinnamon rolls today because we needed to go over there. We needed to sign up for this thing. Just a little filled out my name, one entry per household. We're in there and got the cinnamon rolls. They also gave out a free bag today. They have like very cute and like kind of whimsical, like durable, reusable grocery bags. This
Hmm.
one had a whole clan of animal musicians, which was super badass. And we got a free chocolate bar. So I got a extra dark Natty G's chocolate bar, the big one, like not the small kind.
Right, yeah, not
And
like the fun size.
and yeah, so I'm like there, I'm getting the bag. I'm like, yo, this bag is lit. Like we get new bags often. They do a lot of stuff over there. Oh, my whole point with the Sprouts thing was they're trying to kind of like Sprouts is coming in, they've been there and they're just kind of flexing on them. Like when Sprouts first opened, they did a whole week of it was 25% off everything in the store except alcohol.
Whoa.
Yeah,
And is that like it's like a because in Chicago, I haven't heard of Sprouts. Is it like a Whole Foods-esque kinda thing?
ish, ish.
Okay, yeah.
Not nearly as big of a store. Like Whole Foods, I feel like are usually much bigger, but yes,
Mhm.
similar. And then Natty G's is like also like a Whole Foods, but even smaller still. But I don't know. I know there's a few at least in Colorado. I think they're native to Colorado, and I don't know. They're still like smaller, meaning like we're gonna talk a little bit about some of this stuff. I don't know if you guys have heard about Appeal, but this is a thing put on by fucking Bill Gates, who don't get me started. But basically, they're putting a wax coating on produce, including organic produce, to make it more shelf stable. And so there's lots of places like Sprouts being one of them that have like agreed to participate. Thankfully, there will be a sticker on the produce that will like say appeal or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but Natty G's is like, nah, we are not letting that in our store. So that's like super nice. Oh, it'll be 10 years down the road before we find out why this wax coating on our produce is a bad idea. But like, I'm
Right.
not fucking around with that. So
Not yeah, absolutely
yeah,
not. I'm eating stuff right out of I started planting a garden. I got like a house not too long
nice,
ago,
man.
and, it doesn't even taste like the fruit. Like, it, like, tastes like different shit
Uh
altogether.
huh. Yeah,
It's
because
so concerning. Oh my god. Are you still working with, the what's it, Paul
Saladino,
yeah, yeah, are you still
I
working for him?
I am still working for him.
Yeah. I
Which is
see his stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I hear well, Sammy's the one who does the editing. We'll just plug yeah, so the Fundamental Health podcast, led by Paul Saladino, AKA Carnivore MD, which he's not a carnivore, he was once upon a time, kinda when he first gained steam, but now he's kind of like the face
He
of
does, like
the
he does, like,
animal-based
fruit
diet.
still. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly so it's like I'm actually gonna talk about this with my next guest who's, from Austin, which is where Paul kinda got his start. He's not from there, but that's where he, like, blew up.
Mhm.
And he's an electronic producer. His name is Minnow, and, he followed me somehow, somewhere, and, like, he's about to go carnivore for a little while. So I'm like, "We gotta talk about this." Um but we're talking about it here anyway. So,
Yeah.
because I think all
Whatever,
this
man.
is important. Part of what I want this podcast to be about is like trying to tell people stories or give people an opportunity to tell their own story so they can inspire other people. And for me, especially over the past couple of years, like being in good physical and emotional health is an important part about being successful in whatever you're doing in life. So, I wanna talk more about that, and I'm starting to kinda feel like, musicians who are notoriously, like, unhealthy people, I'm starting to feel like, this can also be a platform to kind of share some of what I've brought into my life, and if people are, like, interested in learning more about the animal-based diet, for example,
Alright.
I would love to cue people in because it's something I've been doing for a couple of years. Not, like, com completely by the book, pretty much when we're at home, but if we
Uh-huh.
go and get food elsewhere, we'll dabble. But yeah, so
I definitely agree with you with, like, the just, like, maintaining a more healthy lifestyle has made me just, like, a better musician, better person too. It like,
yeah,
everything ends up being easier. Um,
yeah,
like, just drinking, like, if I have, like, a wedding or something, you know what I mean?
yep,
Like, or something, like, really celebratory, like, quit smoking cigarettes, like, all that kinda
you
shit.
did?
Yeah, so,
Awesome,
like,
man. Me
just doing
too.
all that stuff, like, getting back into exercising and stuff like that always like, before I met up with, the Threads and everything, like, I was pretty, like, disciplined in a
Really?
as disciplined as you can be as, like, an 18-year-old or whatever.
Sure.
And so, like, I've kinda, gotten back to that a little bit, which is, refreshing.
And sustainable.
Right, exactly, and
Yeah.
sustainable. Like, there's times where I'm tired or whatever, but, like, I can't go into work now, like, I can't get in front of, like, children
Mhm.
the way that I was doing it before. Like I can't even believe when we were living together, I
Yep.
can't believe I was living that lifestyle and trying to do that. Like it's just impossible. And I knew it was, but like there was change happened so incrementally that it was, you know what I mean? Like I just felt stuck.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah.
So let's fill people in. So Duke and I are obviously friends if you haven't caught on. Though we haven't spoken in years.
Yeah,
We,
probably
we
2, 3, like
yeah,
over text even. Yeah.
probably since I moved out here.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
we met when so there's a band called The Threads, which has been mentioned on this podcast before. I'm gonna start pushing on this podcast that that fucking record that you guys recorded sees the light of day. Because I
I
had
know.
John on a couple episodes ago,
Yeah.
and we were talking about it, and he's like, "Dude, it was good." And, like,
It was good. It
it
was pretty
is. Why are
fucking
we
good.
speaking past tense? It
Yeah,
needs
why
to
are we
come out. It
pretending
needs
like
to
it
come
doesn't
out.
exist? It still exists.
Needs to
It's
come
right
out.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was the original bass player in the Threads. This was originally a trio. Me, Sam Abood, Nick Abood, Sam on vocals and rhythm slash lead guitar, Nick on drums. Nick was the youngest of all of us and like by far had the best chops. And then I played bass and did falsettos during choruses. Um and then I wound up well, Justin Bell joined that band. So then we were a four-piece. Justin was playing lead guitar, and then I wound up like wanting to focus on my own stuff. Had some creative differences, you know how it goes, and I left. And then Justin and Nick were very upset with me for quite a while. Sam was fairly understanding. And then Duke came in. Eventually we met each other and I was just like, I got no problem with you. Like,
Yeah.
we just kind of always both
We
like the
kinda
Beatles and shit.
yeah, we
Yeah.
kinda hit it off, I'd
Yeah.
say, more than I hit it off with them because I was, like, really looking for, like, a group. I had not had a band in a while. I was in, like, that a cappella group in college, and I was doing, like, the formal music stuff, and it
Mhm.
was getting so bland that I needed, like, something loud and, obnoxious and
Yeah.
full, so,
Yeah.
um, yeah. When we started doing those recordings, I was just like, "Yeah, like, no problems." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah. So that was super cool because that group really like I became way more of a fan of the Threads when I wasn't a member. And it's
Hmm.
everyone developed, but it was very clear that you brought a lot to the table um from a writing standpoint. And that was awesome. It felt like one of those things once you guys kind of found your groove, so to speak. I felt all that tension with Justin and Nick lifts because it was like everybody's in a better spot. Like
Right.
you guys are playing way better. Like I have my own group now. We're throwing fucking house shows. We're all playing here all the time. Like it's all good,
Yeah.
Like and this wouldn't happen if I stayed. So it was super cool. And you guys really you brought in like this tenderness that we didn't have when I was in the group. Um yeah. So
Yeah.
thanks for that. Those were some great shows down in that basement.
Oh my I was just talking to, I get like my one of my new bosses is a musician,
Mhm.
and so I was talking to him about those little tiny, like, dinky tours we went on, and then, because he plays bass too, and, uh, and I was talking to him about the house shows and stuff he went to U of I, so it's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I need to do like a whole showcase episode on Audible Meets and just kind of what it was, who was involved, and what went down. Um, so stay tuned, listeners. We'll be talking about that eventually down the road. If it doesn't happen, shoot me a DM and I'll make it happen. I forget things from time to time. Um, but yeah, so you mentioned that eventually, and maybe we can date this. This would have been like probably like 2018 or 2019. We were living together. And it was there was a lot of us in that place. It was
Uh,
me,
6 of us.
Duke, Sam Smithson, the chef, who I wound up living with afterwards, Justin, Nick, and you. So there were 6 of us, and there were 3 formal bedrooms, and I was in the sunroom without a door, which does a lot to a young man. Not having your own door can psychologically disturb you, and it did.
I
Um,
had to take that room once you left too.
right. Right, yeah, right, so I forgot about that.
That was a
Did
tough
that
year.
also weigh on you?
Oh my god, yeah, in immeasurable amounts. I mean, that was like, everyone looks back and thinks like, "Oh man, that year sucked," or whatever. That year fucking sucked, man.
I
Like, that
know,
was
man, it was
bad year.
rough, it was rough.
Ooh.
There's so much to be said about your living environment. Fortunately, we were all friends. I don't really remember us, you know maybe I barked at you a couple
A
times because
big yeah,
yeah,
bickering, but
because
that's
there
like
was we had this cigarette rolling machine, and, Duke would always leave the cap off the big tobacco can, and
just
it would
drying
dry
it
the
out.
shit out, and I would get fucking pissed. 'Cause we're buying the American Spirits tub, the the half gallon of
Fif
tobacco.
$50 or
Yeah.
whatever, probably
Yeah,
more.
and then that shit's dried out in 2 days because the dude didn't put the cap on. Anyway, I haven't thought about that in years, so it's water under the bridge at this
Oh
point.
my god, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it was challenging, I think, for all of us. I mean, um, but eventually, you kind of approached me, about recording some of your music, and then we embarked on this journey. I still have some talk about shit that needs to come out.
I was listening to him not too long ago. Is it? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what did it even sound like?" I couldn't, like, remember because
Me
I was kind
either.
of I have this Google Drive of, like, all these, like, song ideas or whatever, and it's like, I'd just, like, number them. So, I wanted to make sure my Google Drive or something was getting full, so I had to, like, transfer them over, and so I went down memory lane that way, and, uh yeah, some of them surprised me. I was like, "Oh, like, that's fine." Like, I think, like, taking them now, I'd be able to do something, like, pretty outstanding with them, but, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't ready back then, you know?
Totally. I
Yeah.
think, like, I remember some of them. The one that stuck out to me that I don't think got released was Beep,
Yeah, dude, that
right?
one was sweet. It was just,
Yeah.
like, this cool little,
Uh-huh.
groovy
And
bass line
and
over, like, the easy, piano, like a kinda like a Coldplay-esque piano.
selfishly, I, like, want some of those tracks that we recorded to be, like, building blocks, like, even if you gotta retake drums or do
Right.
something, like, just to start with those, just so I can feel like I was involved with it, which I still would even if, you just
Oh
'cause
my
I'm
god.
familiar with the songs, but
Right,
I think
yeah.
I think you should make that happen.
There's always something about that one specifically too, the one that you mentioned. Like, because I had, like, done many takes over, like, the entire time being there of that one song. I was like,
Right.
"Yeah, it's simple enough," and it's like, I don't know, just had something about it has the what is the French thing? Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
has it just
we
has the thing, yeah.
we eventually got to that point where I think I, like, gave you my password and you were able to, like, go in and take vocal takes
Right.
without me. Um, and so, yeah, some of these songs, which I think, what we have Spring,
Yeah,
Mr. Hayes, and Moot. Those are the
right.
first 3 that you released, correct?
Yeah, those are
And
the first 3.
those were,
2 of them were with you.
yeah,
One of them was with John, I think, because that one the Moot one was supposed to be on the Threads album, but, like, since I saw that it was kinda fizzling at the time, I was just like, "Just fuck it," and Mr. Hayes was a different name, I think. It was like
we
a
called it
jump
Jump
ship.
Ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, that's weird because I think I've, like, falsely remembered being involved with Moot then, um, which is
You were
weird.
I mean, we were all around, we were all kinda, like, just
Maybe
that
I
was what was really cool about it, though, that I don't think I'll ever get an experience like that again. Because like, we were just all in everyone's music. Like, Justin was always around with a guitar. I was always out in that back fucking alley smoking a cigarette and playing guitar or doing
Yep.
something. You know what I mean? Like we were all just kind of like all over and like listening, and it was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, like, uh, physically and financially, probably a trying time for all of
Oh
us,
my
but
god. Yeah.
musically, like, I'm so glad it happened. You know,
Creatively.
we
Yeah.
were all just rubbing shoulders and influencing one another, like, at a rapid rate,
Yeah.
in a way that could only happen when you're literally living in the same, building, not building, apartment.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. Like, that was immediately a drop off of that, like, collective inspiration as soon as I moved from that place, which was a good thing because
Right.
those other things, you can only ignore those, like, hierarchy of needs,
Mhm.
and
Right. Right.
it had to happen, and I didn't even, like, feel it that strongly at that time, but when I look back, I'm like, "Man, that would have only gotten worse." I think I was looking to other things that were influencing the way that I was feeling, but I really kind of believe just that environment had a whole lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Absolutely.
I did wanna talk a bit about some of that because I know, um, not that we've really talked a whole lot about it, but I'm pretty confident. You can correct me if I'm wrong in saying that that was, like, a very challenging time for you mentally?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, I think I was just talking about this with Missy because it was like not like the word trauma always gets thrown around now. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's not trauma. Like maybe it's a sliding scale, but
yeah.
like,
There's
uh,
big T and little t trauma, if people are
right,
familiar
exactly.
with
It's
that. So
little
w
t trauma, but
yeah.
it's like something that, we had this like goal in mind, and then I, I really, really felt like I was improving and like, musically and creatively, and like, and we were because we were just, it was the symbiotic thing living
Mhm.
together. And it was just like going so fast, so fast, so fast. I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going. And yeah, and I definitely like went off the deep end a little bit. And they tried to help me, they as in like Justin and Sam and Nick. And um, that thing in my, the thing about it is like I probably um didn't take like Sam and Nick's advice as seriously as I took Justin's because like I didn't view them the same way. I always viewed Justin as like a little bit more of like a driving force musically, and like
Sure.
someone that I would um because you give yourself away a little bit musically when you're like playing in a band or like this
Yep.
kind of thing. I was watching this like Prince interview, and it's like you're either here to enlighten or discourage. And I always felt like I was being discouraged by the other two and enlightened by him. And I was like, I want to do the same for him. You know what I mean? And I
Mm.
want to do the same for everyone too. Like, but it's hard to enlighten someone who's like being discouraging back. Like, we just got caught in that loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a tough time. It absolutely was a tough time. And I was teaching at the time, and those were my first 2 years in like the public school thing, and CPS is, not so great.
Mhm.
Um, it's usually the admin. So like just trying to navigate all of that, and man, yeah. I look back now and like I can't believe I have a house, and I can't believe I get to write all this music and have all this time. Like you guys are on, I know it's a Zoom thing, but you're on my piano right now. Like it's like
What was that piano right there?
it's the same one that I had in the apartment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay,
And
okay, cool,
then I
yeah.
got like some like notes and stuff, and I
Nice, man.
got that Rickenbacker, and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
sexy, I love that thing.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
I have most of the stuff in my classroom now. because the kids like love to see it, and like, I'll just like do like cheap little tricks like the tapping and stuff, and the kids go like insane for it, like they're
Mhm.
like, whoa, like
Yeah.
it's such a fulfilling job that I wasn't ready to give my all, when we were living together.
Yeah.
Like I was ready to give it my whole soul yet.
Yeah. So I'm not even aware, like, what grade are you teaching? Where are you teaching?
Yeah,
And obviously you're a music teacher, but just fill us in on that.
yeah. So the last 3 years I was at Orland Park School, which is it was K through 2 or preschool through 2, and so I was like Julie Andrews from Sound of Music. I was like,
Mhm.
just like having them play games and sing songs and all that, and the the complete switch of like going from that environment and that like kind of darkness to children like
Yeah.
laughing and singing and
Yeah.
playing, like it was such an absurd yin and yang kind of thing
Mhm.
that um I just fell in love with it. Like I was like forced to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm at the 3-5 level. I had like a choir too at the 6-8 level. Um but
That
like
sounds cool.
yeah, changing voices and stuff. It's all, I mean,
You get a lot
I'm
of
glad.
squeaks in there?
Oh my god, too many. Yeah. And like I have like, the man's voice now. So like
Yeah.
on the boys, like their voices are changing like
Yeah.
pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
And they're like
Mid-note changing.
yeah, sometimes they're
Whoa.
like sometimes they really wanna sound like me. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Don't try to sound like me yet.
Yeah.
Like, you'll
Yeah.
get there. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna lower." Like,
Yeah.
mine gets lower every day still,
Yeah. Yeah. It does.
Um,
I don't this
it
goes
doesn't
on for
s
a long time.
yeah, it
If you
goes on
listen
to
to, early Beck, like 2 of his records that are kind of similarly voiced,
mhm,
genre-wise, you have Mutations, I forget the years, and then, like, later on, he does Sea Change, and they're both, like, kind of more stripped back acoustic things, and his register is so much higher on Mutations, and Sea Change brings it down a little bit. That's probably why
yeah,
that one had more success. It's more endearing, more rich, more
mhm.
testosterone. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just mean
No,
that
no,
that
it's
doesn't
perfect.
stop in adulthood either.
Right, yeah. Um, so that's like it's just like fun being able to show them all that stuff and like help them out through that, because like I kind of remember like trying to sing in the basement and like I was like, why can't I like match this guy's pit? Like, why can't I hit the actual notes yet? Because like when you, I don't know, like I started singing, uh, like when I was like 11 or something, like 12, like right in that age where it like starts to like get really confusing. And
Yeah.
I would play the guitar and like play like pop songs and shit. And I'm like, why can't I like sing that low? Like it felt low.
Mhm.
Like it's weird how like feeling and the actual sound, how that differs. Like, because like right now, like I feel like, oh, this my talking register is like fair, it feels fairly high, but it sounds probably very low to people who are like the kids. Like they
Sure.
probably have he's like, dude, that guy's a bass. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, but that,
A walking bass.
right, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like they probably perceive it so much differently. And oh my god, we can go down the rabbit hole about how perception in music, like how that differs from person to person, and
Mhm.
it's crazy. Yeah, like I was going through that too when we were living together, and I was like, I can't even like I couldn't even like make a decision musically because it got like so debilitating. Where I'm like, well, if this person's going to hear it this way and this person's going to hear it this way, what's the point in even making the music? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it like got debilitating.
Yeah. Pausing the show here to talk about my first sample pack with 5-pin media titled Psychedelic Soul and Downtempo, available on loopmasters.com. This thing is massive. It is 5.8 gigabytes, and it took me forever working on this thing to give you all the sweet stuff that's packed in here. And as it currently stands, it has 16 5-star ratings on loopmasters.com, which is pretty good. Anyway, there's a lot packed in here, recorded with primarily analog instruments, including my Korg SV1, a Roland Strings, a Wurlitzer organ, my Micro Brute, my Glockenspiel, my Fender Rascal bass, a Washburn semi-hollow bass, Fender Strat, and an array of analog effects and pedals. There are 100 acoustic drum loops on here that I played and recorded myself at Wholesome Studio C7 in Chicago's North Side back when I still lived there. And there are 502 drum loops in total, meaning the rest of those are programmed. There's so many drums in here. We also have one-shots. We've got musical loops on all those instruments that I named. To be specific, there's 766 loops, 179 one-shots, 981 multi-samples, 18 sampler patches, 240 MIDI files, and a Live 10 project featuring 25 sampler bass instrument racks. Like I said, this thing is huge. There's so much to use in here if you're a producer, beat maker, or you just need stuff to play along with. I put a lot of work into this thing. I promise there's plenty here for you to use. It sounds great. It's vibey. It's all down tempo, cool shit. Give it a listen, give it a buy. Head on over to Loopmasters. I got the link in the show notes. Go there, go get it, and start making some cool shit. Before we close out that section on us living together, and just to kind of shed some light on the type of emotional state that I was in during that time. One night, you, Sam Abood, and me, we went out to Kohl's, probably had a beer shot combo, and we were just like, nah, man, this ain't the night. Like, let's go back. And it was probably like 11 p.m. We're like, yeah, this is a great idea. We're gonna go back. We're gonna do this. And so we did wind up doing that. And I just remember, like, you and I were on the balcony. We had this balcony. We were on like the 4th or 5th floor. Like, we were pretty high up. And then Abood like went into his room for hours. Like, we were separated for hours. And I was playing this progression, just sliding major sevens around, and it wound up being, it's out there. It wound up being a Lime Forest song. It's called Stay Young or Die. And it was like, yeah, I mean, I felt like I was dying because I'm convinced that I was, it was like, just hanging on by nothing, basically.
That's one of those feelings, man.
And it took me so much. I put out an EP. It was the Stay Young or Die EP. There's 3 songs, and it took so much for me to be able to like complete that because I was just struggling so hard in general. But you and I, yeah, we were out there just fucking chain smoking, playing, and I remember you playing bass unplugged, the bass that's on the wall behind you, and just playing along to this progression that I just couldn't stop playing. So check that one out. I'll put it in the show notes. Stay Young or Die by Lime Forest. And then the funny part, we eventually, the sun literally comes up, and we're like, yo, where the fuck is Sam? Like, we got to make sure our boy's all right. And so we walk down. This place was just one long hallway with like rooms off of it, including like the kitchen and the dining room, just like all one long hallway. You make a right, you get into the kitchen, make a left, you get into like the dining room. Then you got a bedroom on the right, a bathroom on the right, another bedroom on the right, and then like a room straight ahead, and then like the main living area. That's how this was laid out. And Sam's all the way down that other room. And we like kind of go in there, and he's just sitting on his bed, and he like has this like glowing eyes. It is clear that he's okay. So first off, we take a deep breath, like, okay, we didn't like let our friend die over here while we were out chain smoking and just playing for hours, literally until the sun comes up. And he's like, guys, like, I just fucking get it, dude. I fucking get it. we're like, "Have you been playing this whole time?" He's like, "Scales this whole time, like, I fucking I just got it, I got it." And we're like, "Hell yeah, man, like, glad we were fucking playing the whole time too, like, glad you had a good time," you know? Do you remember anything else from that? That's about all I remember.
I remember us playing a little bit in his room too, and then by that time, I was like I was wiped out. I mean, we had been up for, 24 hours straight, like, more even more, like, we
Uh-huh.
I remember taking a shower and going to bed. I was like, "Oh my god." It must have been a Saturday. I hope it was a Friday or a Saturday. I
Yeah,
hope it was I had work the next day.
yeah.
I really didn't. I don't think I was irresponsible, but I don't think I was that
No,
irresponsible.
I remember in the afternoon the next day finishing the song or putting lyrics to it, because I couldn't get it out of my head, and I just, like yeah, I probably slept for, 4 hours or something and then, like, woke up and wrote some lyrics in the main area. Anyway, we can
Yeah,
close that chapter. That was some, wild times, and then towards the end of that is when we began recording your first songs, and then they kinda, like, froze that project, and that's when we kinda parted ways, and then you started releasing music, some of the 2 songs that I had, like, helped record, and,
yeah,
I wanna talk a bit about your approach to that because it seems like you must have had some clear idea from the jump because all of your artwork, same artist, right? Like, all kind of these same, like, kinda hand-drawn looking things,
yeah, I
and
wanted yeah,
all singles. So I wanted to talk a bit about, like, why? Why did you do it that way? Because it
for
seems to have worked for you.
Yeah, so, like, with all this, like, newer, shorter attention span people with the phones and all that shit, I was just like, um, I could just release shit as, like, a big album, but, like,
Yeah.
even I, as a kid, I didn't even sometimes listen from an album from top to bottom, so I was just like, just, like, release it like, whenever I have a song, I'll just release a song,
Mhm.
and, uh and I had, Katie, who is, one of my buddy Luke's wife. She does, like, a graphic design thing, so she would draw them for me and super talented, and then, by the time, like, I think, like, I had 7 or 8 songs or something, and then she wanted to stop doing that. I guess it took too much of her time.
Mm.
And so then, uh, Justin Bell's brother, younger brother, he was going to DePaul for graphic design. Um, so I had him help and do the drawings and stuff. I just wanted it to be like that's like kind of how I see the music too. It's just like just little sketches. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like trying to like I'm just like I'll sit down or something, and if it happens to catch me on the right day, then I'll keep playing with that song, and then like I'm going in tomorrow with John and just recording like the whole song. Like that's what we did for the last song too. Like
Yeah,
just
I figured you'd be at just 1 song in a day.
yeah, and like you know, I could do like a full length thing, but it's like I just laugh. I'm like, I won't ever do that because I won't ever have enough money to do that at one time, like
Mhm.
um because like if I budget it, it's like for an entertainment budget. Like this is like entertaining to me. It's like very fun and it's like going to the movies or like going to see a concert or something.
Sure.
Like this is how I spend my money on it. So like unless someone's willing to pay me to make a full length album, and I'm just gonna do singles.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how that's like gonna be my mentality and until something changes.
So it wasn't as calculated as I may have thought. Um, I'm kind of literally had a meeting yesterday. Uh, I don't remember. I should be giving you episode numbers, but I'm batching episodes for everyone out there, so I don't have them all memorized. But I met someone here in the Springs recently. His name is Drew Geiger, and he's got upwards of 30,000 monthly listeners. And talking to him, and it's like it's no accident. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's kind of teaching me. We're gonna have another meeting to talk more about it. He's teaching me like how he's making that happen, and it's all deliberate and it's all networking, treating Spotify like Instagram basically,
Right.
and following playlists and then finding people who make playlists and contacting them directly. So I wanted to pick your brain because I was showing you to him as an example of one of my friends who's gotten a lot of plays on some of your songs.
Right.
Spring being the one that has the most, I think. How many? 40,000 plays or something crazy
Yeah.
like that?
Something like that. Yeah. Now, when I
Yeah,
first came out with that, when I release a song, I'll kind of do that same thing where, I'll do a little like $5 here for like an Instagram thing to make sure all my friends see it or whatever. And because like I'm not very Instagram heavy or like social
sure.
media heavy. So like when I post things, like it doesn't show up to even all of the people that I
Right.
follow or like so I guess that's like social media's way of like making me pay for not using it very
Sure,
often.
yeah, if you were posting daily, everyone would see it.
Right, right. And that's like, part of the thing where it's like I just want the people around me, like to be able to enjoy it and like the making of it is really important to me.
Totally.
Like how I was saying, it's like entertainment. But
Mhm.
like, yeah, Spring got on, I think, a few playlists just through like whatever promotion I was able to look up at the time, whether it was a scam or not.
I'd
And
say not.
led down some different alleyways where it's just like, oh, like this person like messaged me and they're like, oh, can we put it on this? And
So you were contacted. I'm just trying to figure out, like,
right,
what was the sequence of events because, A, I wanna know, and B, I want our listeners to feel empowered that, like, you
right.
can have that happen to your song.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm just looking through emails and stuff. I wish I had like the actual. I remember waking up or like going to bed and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like, pitch this promotion thing, whatever I found on searching the internet or whatever, just like normal ass shit. Looking at like the Spotify curators and all that nonsense. Um, And then I remember going to sleep, waking up the next morning, had an email from like the whatever company I was working with, and they're like, "Okay, like you have this added to, Spring added to this playlist, and Spring added to this playlist." And it's like all, some of them look more legit, whether or not all of them are or not,
Mhm.
um, but like I think what was that Geiger you said?
Drew Geiger, he goes by EJRM, he makes, like, ambient music, and
Yeah.
he's wound up on playlists, he's like, "I'm sitting between Tom York and Brian Eno on this playlist."
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
see, like, kind of the thing, like, it just, like, kinda it happened kinda, like, suddenly, and, like, pitching it costs, like, $50 or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, like, free.
So you did
What
pitch it?
Yeah, and so, like, what happens is, like now I pitched some of these other ones and they didn't go
Land.
so well, but you
But
know what I mean?
yeah, pause real quick. So when you say you're pitching, this is different than you, like, pitching to Spotify as you're uploading the song, right? Because that's just free.
Yeah, that's completely different. This is
Okay,
like
so
yeah, like, separate companies and
and
stuff.
do you have any names of companies or anything like that?
Let me
Just so we
see.
can maybe give
Yeah,
some
let
people a
me
little blueprint here. Yeah,
'cause,
take
like,
your time.
yeah, I think I've tried a few different ones. Like, one of them, Sound Campaign. That one's, like, fine. It's all a fucking scam shit anyway, you know what I
Sure.
mean? But what it does is, like, I've found that when those bots or whoever they have fucking pumping streams into it, I do find that there's, a few people that follow me on Instagram. Or then there's like one or two people that like end up one or two real people or in quotation marks, that end up listening to it for a longer period of time. Because like I know, like if I go talk to my friends, they're not fucking listening. Like my close friends aren't listening to it. So I'm like, okay, who are these people? And then I look on like like the Spotify for artists shit. It's like there's people from Spain and there's people from Germany or some shit. Like it's that was what was like most surprising about like trying to do it. Cause like I don't know who these fucking people are, but I know there's something listening. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's someone listening and like
Yeah.
I like some of it, like at the initial, like when they put it on the playlist, like there's some like initial like scam pump.
Mhm.
I think like there's
I've seen that happen with some other friends too.
right, like I think like what it's what it does is like end up getting it on like the what is it? Whatever algorithm. I don't know how that shit works. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's just like it's kind of a mystery and I'm like willing to leave it like a mystery kind of thing.
Sure.
Cause it's not like an important part of the process for me. Like I
Sure.
want people to it, but like
Mhm.
I know like this is working ish. So it's like, yeah, I'll just keep
Yeah,
it
yeah.
going like that. Not
Totally.
like it's not breaking the bank and it's not preventing me from doing something that I like.
Totally.
Uh, yeah. But it's been awesome. It's been a cool like experiment, like
Yeah.
trying to different things and um trying to schedule things out. Like I guess like when I said like that it was kind of it wasn't like random when those initial ones were coming out. Like I definitely did schedule them out like where I knew one thing a month for however long I had them. Like I kind of had them backlogged like how you're doing these episodes and stuff.
Mhm.
Like I had them finished, but just like kind of sitting on them and waiting. Like there's a little bit of that, and
And that matters because we were talking about Instagram, and what I'm gathering from Drew as well is like frequency of releasing matters. So he did start out with a full length, but I think since then it's pretty much just been singles, and that's deliberate. I showed him my recent record Glimmers, and he's kind of like, "Well, your first problem is it's an album." And I'm like, "All right, like cool. Thanks for first off, I just met you. Thanks for being blunt with me. Like I appreciate you. Like
appreciate
now I'm going to take you seriously."
it. Yeah,
Um but yeah, so calculated or not, doing that probably helped feed you into the algorithm because having more releases is helpful. But continue on.
right. Yeah. See, like that's the kind of thing. Like I was getting to it where I'm like, I don't know how much that. I guess now I have like something to compare it to because like I was releasing things like pretty often for like probably a year. And I guess now I have like something to compare it to. But I don't know how much it, it did maybe at like this level in the process, like um I definitely have like it seems like I have the same amount of like those random listeners
Mhm.
as I did back then too. Like
Totally.
it
Not really
yeah,
growing.
right, right.
Yeah.
It seems like and what I what I've definitely I kind of go in these back and forths between like maybe concentrating on that and then I'll feel unfulfilled musically uh like not being able to express myself as clearly and as appropriately as I would like on any given instrument or something. So like
Mhm.
doing deep dives and um like something that I've taken a lot of pride in, which, is it's not hard, but like I have started like a routine practice log, like where I have to
Mm.
log I did that day. And to look back on and um it's like something simple that we used to do when I was in like band in middle school, like where it's like
Mhm.
have a practice log. And it's not hard.
Gotta hold those fuckers accountable.
Right. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be it can't just be like I sat down at the piano and there and did and I played. There's just so many different like so many different avenues of the musical journey that I'm taking. It's like hard sometimes. Like it's like I can sit down and I can try writing a tune, or I have like a melody in mind, or I can sit down and I can practice, or I can go to the bass and I can practice, or
Mhm.
I can write something on the bass, or I can write something, like so when I sit, I have to practice and log the practice. It has to be something that is, like we said, deliberate things that I cannot do very well. I have to sound bad a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Yeah.
and that's kind of that's where I'm like finding a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction as of late. Um, but yeah, I, I I would admittedly, I guess, after all this, neglected like scheduling things out
Mhm.
uh, with the music, but I wasn't being very fulfilled when it comes to releasing music. Like
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's been really cool to meet Drew, and, he's like he loves it. Like, he loves the grind, and he's very upfront about it, like, "This is what you have to do." Like, he's like, "Alright, so you got this song, you say it's neo soul, go in the fucking search engine, look up neo soul. Okay, cool. Start looking. Those are your Spotify playlists. Cool. We're looking for people, like independent people who are making playlists that have some followers. Alright, there's one right there." For example, we did this yesterday. There's this user named Josie, and she's made this neo soul playlist. She herself has like 250 followers or something, but this playlist has like 30,000 some followers. Just made a neo soul playlist that blew up. He's like, find her, like find her on Instagram, shoot her a message, like do that, and then for the rest of the day, do that. And I'm just like, wow, okay, this is cool. And he's someone who consistently, just to share, he's pulling in 500-600 bucks a month just from his music streams.
oh,
And that's supplementing his income. And I'm in a position where, I have a child now. I'm trying to just earn on all fronts. And I've known for a very long time that my music, the quality of my music has been there. A lot of us can say that the quality is there. It's not about the quality. And I've known that for a very long time. I just happen to be I started recording other people. I started working on podcasts, so I kinda gave up on trying not making music, but on putting in energy to, because I didn't have a reason to believe that that could happen unless I were signed or something. And here's
right.
someone, he does work with a label now, but he works with a label because he already had this shit going before the label, like, agreed to kinda work
Right.
with him.
It's a
So,
do it yourself project.
and
All of it,
he's
do it you
showing me that, like, you can fucking do it. And so now, just within the past couple days, I'm like, all right, cool, like that's going to be another part of my income. I'm not going to solely rely on that, but I'm going to try and put the work in, because I've known for a very long time that my shit is worthy of, people around the world hearing it. And if I
right.
can get to a point to where I'm, whether it's 500 bucks a month or whatever passive, that's fucking a big deal. So,
Right.
um, same goes to you. Like, if you were to put that energy back into that, which I'm hearing for you, it's not always fulfilling. I could see that happening to me too. Drew just seems to kind of love it in a way like my wife loves networking on Instagram. Like,
Mhm.
that's a part of her passion. So it works out well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I want to try and start making a little coin on that. And I'm hopeful that this podcast can start, bring in more recording and mixing work as well. I've just come to realize that you have to put things out there. You have to put energy out there in order for anything to come your way. If you're one of those people who doesn't want to spend money on anything, you don't want to talk to people, well, great. That's what you're going to get back. So I'm
What
trying to
you pay.
start conversations, talk about things, share what I know, just for the joy of it, and also be aware that if you do that, there's gonna be a little bit of a kickback, and that doesn't taint the desire, the mission or whatever you want to call it. I'm looking for the right word there, but it doesn't taint my purpose is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because that's living life, you know. like um so thanks for letting me go on that rant there. That's what this is all about here on A Musical Mind. That's what we're here for. You cut
For
out for a sec there. Oh, go ahead.
sure. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's the best hobby. I swear to God, it is the greatest hobby. Um, and hopefully, like one day, with all this practice and all this, all my goals in mind, like hopefully my taste will like match up with what I want to create. Because I feel like it's always that chase between what I would like to be able to, how I should be able to express myself on something, and how I can deliver that to someone else. And like, I feel like every song that I've ever written doesn't match what it hasn't hit the mark yet. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like I it hasn't hit the mark because I knew back then I was like, this isn't like I knew it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? Like it didn't get across exactly what the feeling is, and it didn't tell the whole story. And that's an exciting um it's an exciting chase.
yeah, that's like the motivation. That's what keeps you going.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this seems like a good place to transition to what are you working on now? I know you got a
Yeah.
session scheduled tomorrow. I've actually talked to Drew Stump, who is seems like you
Yeah.
might be working
Yeah.
with him a bit on something, playing some bass for him. So
That's
what's next for you?
Yeah, he got so that recording. Drew, he got me doing some bass, so I got to look at that music and stuff.
Oh, you already
It's,
have the music.
yeah, yeah, he sent me
Cool.
like a chart. It's just like chord charts. So I was playing through it a little bit, and then Justin Bell, he's playing with this band called American Hustle, and they're doing like a Leonard Skinner first album show, so they needed
Okay.
because that's like the nice thing about playing the bass too is like
You're needed.
I'm always needed. No
Yeah.
one play that fucking thing, man. No
Yeah.
one wants to do it
Yeah.
because like I was playing. I got stuck a little bit playing like a lot of dead shows, and with Lazy River Riders is like the group, and it's fun. It's fun
Mhm.
because we get to play out these things, but like there's something about just like playing the same stuff over and over again. It's just like and especially on the bass, it's just like, oh my god, I can only play so simple for so long
Right.
and- until it just like starts sucking all the life out of me. So
Yeah.
uh but yeah, so I got that, and then I think there's another show I got at uh it's like a memorial service for one of Geo's friends. um
Oh,
I don't know, I'd never met him,
me
but
either. I'm familiar. Can't remember
yeah.
his name, but I can picture his face because I know Gio has like a sticker on his car or something.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, buddy. Friend of Gio's is a friend of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, just like recording here and there, and now like the school year is starting too. So like, it's like I got, the choir concerts and stuff to plan for the kids. So like, that's like, it's funny how in my head, I treat it the same way as like playing a show, like out at the bar or something, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, gotta practice. We got to go rehearse. Like,
Yeah.
it's so much more formal, and it's so much more it's with the kids, so they have
Yeah.
a lot of fun with it, and they're like taking it a little less seriously, but they are enjoying it, so it sounds better than it would, and it's
Sure.
great. That's pretty much all on the horizon. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I'm super glad to hear you're staying musical and seems like you're in a much better spot. Um, so I'm happy to hear all of that.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're going to our closing segment here. All right. So I have started a playlist called A Collective Musical Mind. If you haven't followed it yet, go follow it. I have no motive with this playlist other than for me to be hearing music from friends or a guest I have on this show. Um, I'm asking each guest to give me an album, song, or EP. Actually, I'd prefer it in the other order: song, album, song, EP, or album. I've gotten full albums from some people, but trying to keep it, a couple songs per person, unless you really have to put a whole record on there. Something that you recently have been like fired up about.
Yeah. So this artist, I've been listening to the whole album, but granted there's a few skips. Dami and JD Beck, they came out with something last year around this time. That's DOMI, little I, and then the ampersand, like an and.
I got you.
Yeah, JD Beck. Their album, the song like "What Up" or "Smile,"
We'll do
"Moon."
those two. Oh,
Yeah, with Herbie Hancock. Even
I'll put that one in. All right, I'll do those three.
those that is just blowing my mind. And it's fantastic. I think both of them. I saw them first on Instagram. And I didn't know that they were like recording new music or like gonna.
Well, there's one with Mac DeMarco too. I'll put that on. I'm a fan.
That one's interesting. I like he sings on it because some of them are the ones I
Should
sent
I
you.
not do that one? This is your pick. Not
I
that
would.
one. All right.
I'm like a huge fan of that one. I'm a fan of Mac. I love Mac, but like I don't think it like does. It doesn't like flatter him.
Okay, it's a bad collab.
Yeah,
relatively.
He sounds fine. Like he sounds fine on it. I think it's just like it would have just been better if maybe it wasn't him singing. It was like him playing guitar or something and playing the same melody. Like I don't know. I think it just like there's something lost in translation. But those guys are absolutely incredible. Like it's blowing my mind, dude.
I'll check it out because I'm not familiar at all.
For sure, yeah.
All right, man. Well, that can bring us to a close here. Thanks for being here. It's good to kind of catch up on the air, and good luck to you. And I'll be looking out for any tracks coming your way. Once again, this has been Duke Hyatt, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to that one with the Dukers, aka Duke Hyatt. If you'd like to give Duke a follow on Instagram, you can do so. That is Duke Hyatt. That's it. DUKEHIATT. Duke has a bunch of songs out on Spotify, also listed as Duke Hyatt there. DUKEHIATT. All that'll be in the show notes. Hope to have Duke on again down the road to catch up again and see what he's got cooking. All right, everyone. Have a great day and give someone a hug. Thanks for listening to A Musical Mind. I have been your host, Richard Raymond II. If you, your band, or your friend, or anyone you know is in need of mixing and mastering services, I offer that remotely. Shoot me an email. That's richardraymond2@gmail.com. No spaces, all spelled out. You can also give me a follow, Richard_Raymond_II on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. We'll get to making some cool shit. And please like this podcast, share it with a friend. Give it a 5-star rating. It ain't too hard to do. I appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you next time.